Morgan Parker is a man on a mission to ride his motorcycle from Hong Kong to Brisbane, Australia on a voyage that will see him travel through 10 countries and in the process raise awareness about 10 of the most important charities across the region. It's an adventure that'll test his limits during a trip that'll be exciting, dangerous, eye-opening and always breathtaking. Join him each week as he travels wheel to wheel.
In the next 10 episodes, you're going with me on a journey of discovery. 125 days that changed my life and taught me what's really important. Get ready for Wheel to Wheel.
With more in his thoughts is Morgan Parker.
Morgan Parker.
Well, we're joined now by Morgan Parker.
Before Wheel to Wheel, my life had already been one hell of a ride. I'd spent 15 years working as a luxury retail developer and investment banker in Asia.
President of Topman Asia, a subsidiary of Topman Centers, a $6 billion portfolio of more than 20 shopping malls over in the US.
In Asia, of course, luxury goods are expanding at a very rapid rate. Asia was booming, and I was riding the wave. Jet-setting around the globe, meeting with billionaires, prime ministers and presidents was all in a day's work. We're really focused on the key economies in Asia. Things were good, and I was getting ahead. But I began to wonder if I was losing myself in the process. I started to question my own set of values. What is my real purpose? Is this all life's about? There has to be more to it. I think I just have a burning desire inside me to prove my own self-worth to me. When my father left our family when I was 13, I think what the impact of that was to me that I grew up really quickly. And I've always had this overarching sense of responsibility to myself and those around me. If you want to do anything properly in life, you need to be thoughtful about it and plan for it. And that strategy of philanthropy is actually how I started Wheel to Wheel. The trip needed to have more meaning than just be a ride. And it occurred to me that I could combine my adventurous ambitions or dreams with my philanthropic ones by visiting charities along the way. So I looked at the 10 countries I was going through, all countries in a developing stage of their evolution, all riddled with lots of different humanitarian issues. And it became glaringly obvious to me that this motorcycle expedition could be a charitable one.
On the charitable side, there's been a tremendous amount of work going into understanding these organisations, understanding what they're about, developing a real relationship with them, because one of our aims is to raise awareness, to be able to tell their stories to a wide audience. And in order to do that, we really have to live and breathe what they're doing. So it started with the big issues. We were looking across the 10 countries, what in each of those countries are the major pressing social and environmental problems. What we looked for was an issue that appealed to us as individually and as a team, and then drilling down within that, trying to find a fantastic organisation working on the ground, doing something innovative, interesting to address those issues, typically led by an inspiring individual.
My name's Paige Sinclair, and I am project manager. My role with Wheel to Wheel is to be a support and manage everything from website, social media, administration.
Paige will be keeping tabs on me via a GPS tracking system that'll be on my bike. There's also a lot, and I mean a lot, to keep track of while I'm riding my bike.
He has about 15 different things to turn on when he turns his bike off. So he gets on the bike, he has to turn on the GPS, he has to turn on the cameras. He went through the list with me, and I was like, you need to get a checklist and just tape it to the front of the bike. Morgan's journey will be epic, and I'm sure a little daunting for him. He will start in Hong Kong, focusing on the work of our chosen NGO, the Clean Air Network.
I'll be heading up to China to meet Gecko in Yangshuo, where we'll visit a school and educate some students about the environment.
Morgan will then head south to Vietnam and Animals Asia, which is bound to be an emotional time seeing the exploitation of moon bears there. He'll then travel into the remote corners of Laos to rendezvous with Child's Dream to open a new school.
I wind my way through Cambodia, taking back roads on the way to New Hope, a charity that provides education, health and food to the poorest of the poor in Siem Reap.
From there, he's off to his sixth country, Thailand, to visit Bang Gerda, a brilliantly effective HIV/AIDS orphanage located in Lopburi.
A key issue we always wanted to highlight on this expedition is violence against women. So I'll be stopping in to learn about the work of Women's Aid Organisation in Malaysia.
Then he'll make his first water crossing into Indonesia, where together with Pan Echo, we'll expose one of the world's most destructive environmental practices.
After skipping through the archipelago, I'll enter Timor-Leste, the first new nation of the 21st century to meet Action for Change Foundation, who are saving a generation of youths disenfranchised by war.
Then, if the wheels are still rolling, he'll traverse the ocean to his homeland of Australia. There, we'll reveal the contemporary genius of ancient Aboriginal conservation practices supported by NAILSMA, our 10th charitable organization.
Finally, I'll venture through the outback and around to the finish line in Brisbane. There are continual refinements to the route as unforeseen issues keep popping up while planning this 125-day expedition. No, not license, carnet, which is spelled C-A-R-N-E-T.
The list seems endless. We're trying to get Morgan and his bike from Hong Kong to Brisbane. We need carnets for the bike, we need visas for Morgan, we've got to sort out the film crew, ship bike parts. Meanwhile, here in Hong Kong, we've got events going on, we've got media interviews. We're finalising arrangements with the 10 charities. Above all that, trying to raise donations. It's going to be a sprint to the finish.
On that website, viewer donations are critical for every charitable organisation we visit. Here's how to contribute.
We'll click on Owner KM. It's $100 Hong Kong dollars per kilometres. You can donate to one specific charities, or you can donate to all charities. There's very detailed information on the website about each single charities, so you can do your own research. 100% of the funds, they are going to the charities.
Behind the scenes, the Hong Kong-based Siren Films crew will be trying to capture as many moments as possible.
This was an opportunity to tell 10 very important stories about 10 grassroots organisations in the 10 different countries that we visited. The charity story was obviously the most important aspect of every show, so we decided to fly a crew in each country to cover each charity story for 5 or 6 days at a time. Over and above that, some aspect of that particular country which we thought would make great viewing would also be shot. And that sort of marriage of a journey of awareness with adventure travel was, I think, a synergy which we all felt very strongly about. Designing the show was also a challenge because over and above shooting the organisations and the stories in each of the countries, we had to design a way for Morgan to have that action style. So we mounted a camera looking back on his handlebars, looking back at Morgan. We also mounted a camera on his helmet, which you'll see a lot of the times, and that gave him his point of view shot. We also mounted one on the forks, which gave basically that whole action kind of adventure shot. If you're an adventurer or if you do any sort of extreme sports, you'll know these cameras. They're called GoPro, they're full HD cameras, very versatile, and it gave a very strong sense of soloism. You have to remember that most of the expedition, Morgan will be on his own. No crew there, nobody else apart from himself. And that's very much reflected in the way that we decided to film the show.
And of course, we have to get the word out. And the best way to do that is via the media. In Hong Kong, it starts with creating a website.
So on the website, you can learn about the team behind the expedition, the details of Morgan's journey from Hong Kong to Brisbane, and the 10 important causes that we're supporting. In addition to the website, we're really active on Facebook and we've got a growing number of fans there. We're on Twitter and you can find some interesting behind-the-scenes clips on our YouTube channel.
We also tapped into traditional media outlets.
Morgan Parker, investment banker turned adventurer. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sarah.
The first germ of the idea was, let's do a road trip.
I have had this sense of adventure in me for a long time, but the inability to execute on it because of my career and working hard like we all do. And then I arrived at a point in my life where I thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go and do an adventure. And then hopefully by virtue of doing this crazy adventure, bring a bit of attention to those charities that I'm going to stop in on. And as I left, I felt my excitement and fear factor at an all-time high. But then there's still so much work to be done, more training for starters. And when Wheel to Wheel returns, I'll make my final preparations for the journey. Aside from the epic enduro adventure riding 25,000 kilometres through 10 countries in just 125 days, the real heart of Wheel to Wheel's mission is to raise awareness and funding for our 10 selected charities. We are in central Hong Kong in this small little office building where the fight to save Hong Kong's air quality is being fought by Joanne Oy and the Clean Air Network. The Clean Air Network is quarterbacked by Joanne Oy, a very dynamic, passionate, obsessed individual, which was perfect for the Wheel to Wheel criteria. We wanted to find those crazy people that all they want to do is solve issues and nothing will come in their way that they can't overcome. And she's that person. And when I met her and heard her speak about the issue, I was immediately in awe of the work that she was doing.
Clean Air Network was founded in July 2009 after a conference that was put together by another NGO called Civic Exchange in January of that year. And there was a lot of interest among the public in clean air and health. And that's specifically why we founded Clean Air Network, to actually address the issue of how health is directly and adversely impacted by air pollution in Hong Kong.
The clean air issue in Hong Kong is an obvious one because you don't need to look far to see it. Other humanitarian issues that we're focused on, you need to search for. But you only have to look out your window or talk to anyone in Hong Kong and realise that this is the biggest issue. So it wasn't a long process to decide that that was the humanitarian cause in Hong Kong that made the most sense.
I believe that we've achieved a very high level of awareness, especially among the more underprivileged areas of Hong Kong. Surprisingly, 73% of the residents believed that air pollution was directly and adversely harming their health, which was quite a surprising finding because it's said all too often by politicians that poor people don't care about air pollution and that they think of it as a second-tier issue compared to jobs and welfare. So I think that we have made great inroads in terms of increasing public awareness about how health is impacted.
And the health of the general public in Hong Kong certainly is impacted. For example, this newspaper man in the central business district has been working 17-hour days for 20 years. During that time, the health of both he and his wife have been affected.
即係喉啊氣管敏感咯，你咪不停咁咳啦，你吸收嗰啲咁嘅空氣啲污濁嘅空氣。你而家個天氣還好啊，如果熱天啊，啲咁嘅車啲私家車。 開咗個冷氣，佢個人坐喺裏邊，但佢唔識嘅，嗰啲氣係咁噴出嚟嘅。佢經常都要戴住個口罩，都係即係喉管啊，成日咳啊，個氣管啊，有陣時啲肺都唔係幾舒服。
Over the past 2 decades, Hong Kong's economic progress has been stellar, but it's come at a price. Everyone from the man in the street to the executive in the boardroom recognises the government simply has not done enough to safeguard the city's environmental future.
以前就冇咁犀利，而家啲車可能係多咗咧。你反為咧97前嗰陣時咧還好啲，嗰陣時即係人哋政府管得好啊嘛。你而家人咧就管得唔好啊，又唔得精緻，所以咪變咗差咗好多。
I would say that although we have a fantastic relationship with the government, probably among the closest of all the NGOs working on air pollution, the government hasn't done nearly enough in terms of actual policy making. Although recently Donald Tsang has explicitly acknowledged the importance of cleaning up roadside emissions. So our main focus is really on what measures can improve public health the fastest. So our main focus these days is on roadside emissions.
On a motorcycle expedition, at some point, I'm probably going to have to pick up my bike. Combine that with the sheer attrition of being on the road for 125 days, and it becomes pretty obvious I'm going to have to hit the gym. So I'm off to train with Sundance at Pure Fitness in Hong Kong.
I originally hail from California. Been a PT trainer for approximately 20 years. An NPC, National Competitive Bodybuilder, for about 5 or 6 years. My dynamics are everything from innovative old school to toning to shaping, weight management. So kind of the whole gambit. Nice. Drive it. Drive it. Still strong. No guts, no glory.
I never wanted a scenario during the trip to be unable to do something for the charities or unable to push on and meet the schedule because of an inadequacy in my physical preparation.
This was new to me, and saying that was very exciting. So both of us had our challenge in front of us. I had to design and implement a lot of old school, strong, focused bodybuilding techniques, and he picked up on them very quickly. All you, let's go. Tight. Nice, done.
Sundance and I developed a great rapport in the 6 months before I left, and we really ramped up my training. He thought specifically about what sort of physical strength and endurance I needed.
Good form, that's it. This is it.
I want to be able to handle this bike like it's a bicycle.
Done. He's got to maneuver through mud, through potholes, through desert in Australia, and those shoulders have to be strong. So the heavy lifts that we put together were monumental in maintaining that mass. All the deltoids, bicep, tricep, forearms, his grip strength, his upper pecs really had to be developed, and he did it really well. Just the other day, after 11 weeks, we had 3 personal best lifts in one day, which is amazing.
The whole fitness regime is starting to peak now, and each and every week I'm trying to do a PB or a personal best with each and every exercise I attempt, so that when I set off on the 4-month expedition, I'm absolutely as strong as I possibly can be. This is called a Yates deadlift, and is specifically designed to simulate what it would be like to pick up the bike in the field if I was to fall off it. This weight I'm about to attempt is 160 kilograms. So if I start crying afterwards, you have to excuse me.
Right. Right.
During the course of my 2 months training with Sundance before leaving, I've actually taken my body fat level from 21% down to 13%, whilst all the time either maintaining my body weight or increasing it. So I've had a terrific conversion of fat to muscle, and I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life. Sundance has certainly pushed me towards maximum fitness, and I'm pretty sure I can lift the bike if I fall off during the expedition. My biggest fear is that anything can happen out in the road. Asia seems safe to me, but you never know. I have some fighting skills, but I need to be able to get out of any situation I find myself in. And for that, there's only one answer. I have to learn Krav Maga, the most practical self-defense method ever devised.
Is not art in the sense of martial art. We don't do anything beautiful. We do our moves that are based on instinctive responses of the body. And in general, anything that is surviving skill kicking off in a bad situation. Push. Don't jump too much.
More drive rather than jump.
I probably cannot. We use everything, the fingers, the spitting, the biting, whatever. You know,
Yep.
I just want you to dig into survival mode and get whatever is there. The finger, the poke, the spit, and kiss him. We strictly encourage hitting privates. No balls, no crowd. Hurdles. Yes! even you know, I just... Is basically protecting oneself and dear ones around you, your friends. It's surviving issue.
She designed a self-defense course that took me through those months before departure to prepare me. At first, it's hard to grasp the fundamentals of Krav Maga, but that's because there aren't any. Once I learnt that it's an eye for an eye and sometimes more, I quickly got the hang of it.
Morgan obviously looking at this charity work that he's doing, which is amazing, and in absolute awe of that. And looking in the regions that he's going to visit, basically, that might be a little bit unsafe. He said, okay, you know, I'm interested to try. Motorbike, all your cash and camera equipment. Yeah.
I really don't know what to do in that circumstance.
You draw attention to the other hand.
Right.
Don't forget, L again.
Yep.
L. See? And pull it. That's good. Yes!
Okay, I'll give you my money.
He can manage. I mean, look at the size of that guy. I mean, I'm a 63 girl, he's 100 kilos.
Yep.
He was very much into it. I enjoyed training tremendously. It helped me actually master the big guy. He can rely on his long limbs and his arms and his sheer weight. But you really don't need a lot of muscular power to apply a Krav Maga. Hence the reason is the beauty in it. It's simply to learn. It's a self-defense for everybody.
Thank you.
You can lift me now.
So now I'm pretty fit and I've got a fine array of self-defense skills, but there's still a lot to worry about before I embark on this epic journey. First off, my bike has to be in tip-top shape, as does my overall medical health. And I must admit that I'm concerned about the prospect of leaving my friends and family for the next 4 months. When Wheel to Wheel returns, there'll be some tearful goodbyes for sure as I make final preparations to leave Hong Kong and ride into the great beyond. I love Hong Kong and I want to spend the rest of my life living there. But until such time as the air can be brought under control and back to manageable levels, it seems untenable. Every year that I live there, the air quality deteriorates further and further.
Clean air is very important in Hong Kong because, believe it or not, our dirty air is killing almost 900 people a year, and at the latest estimate, almost 2,000. And in comparison to 2003, when SARS took the lives of 299 people, it isn't being given the same level of attention or policy direction. So that's why, in terms of importance for the public, it is literally the #1 avoidable public health crisis that the city is facing.
We're now here in Yamate on the edge of Hong Kong Harbour to talk to Mr. Lee, an elderly resident of this high-rise building immediately adjacent to a large road, to understand the damage that's been done to his health by the air pollution of Hong Kong. Let's go meet him.
Hello, hello, nice to meet you, Morgan. Come in.
Mr. Lee, nice
You're
to meet
welcome.
you. I understand you've been having some health concerns.
Yes. I have been seriously affected by the traffic nuisance, traffic pollution, air pollution, which affect my health seriously. And I'm now suffering from notal allergy.
Mr. Lee even had to retire 5 years early due to the allergies affecting his health, and he's on the 24th floor of his building. Just imagine what it's like at Hong Kong street level, which I did, and was alarmed to find out what I'm breathing every day.
Well, there's a lot of different composition. Part of it is what we call sulfate nitrate, which are actually chemicals that form from the sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides of the power plant emission, shipping emission, as well as the vehicle emission. That contributes something like 30, 40, sometimes 50% of the total mass of the particulate. And there are also some heavy metal, some organic matter, basically a soup of many different things.
A soup of many different things? That's not quite what I want to be breathing on a daily basis, which is another reason we're supporting the Clean Air Network.
One of the reasons we founded Clean Air Network was because we felt that the ordinary person just wasn't aware of the basic facts about how their health was being affected. Now, of course, without that threshold knowledge and awareness, it's very difficult to expect people to actually care about the issue, let alone speak up, get organized, get their organization, family, business involved. So that is actually the main activity that we perform. It's really to educate the public about the health impacts of air pollution.
This probably represents about 50 to 60% of the ultimate range of things that I hope to take. And believe me, when you're going on a 3.5-month expedition, this is not a lot of space. When I spoke to other expeditionaries who'd been on similar adventures to this, everyone said the key thing is to have multiple pairs of boots, multiple pairs of socks, plenty of underwear, and also gloves. It's really endless the amount of stuff that you could take on an expedition. I've spoken to people who take up to 100 different spare parts for the bike. Fortunately, the BMW is a very robust bike. It does not have a lot of vulnerabilities. So this is the bike, and this is going to be my intimate partner as I ride from Hong Kong to Brisbane. It's a terrific bike that has been proven to be able to handle the sort of terrain that I'm going to have to encounter during the wheel-to-wheel expedition. The bike is a hybrid bike. It's not quite an off-road dirt bike, and it's also not quite a road bike. It's specifically designed for these sort of endurance expeditions. Of course, I don't really know what sort of terrain I'm going to encounter. I don't know exactly how the bike's going to perform, but I feel at one with the bike, and I really think that this is the bike for the job.
My name is Henry, and I used to work for BMW Motorrad Hong Kong. They came out with this is actually to be in the medium-sized bike market, and because it's a bit lighter, it's very fuel efficient, very user-friendly, easy to maintain, and I think ultimately for what people wanted, it's the reliability, I think is the main. All I can say is I hope if the bike didn't break down, I think that has already saved his day, so.
As you can see, my bike is in tip-top shape, but I'm not sure I am. There are many possible illnesses to contend with on the road. One bad meal could leave me with food poisoning, or worse, there's a real possibility of contracting malaria while riding through some of Asia's jungles. But I want to be ready for any possibility, which is why we've got a team doctor on board ahead of time. Meet the lovely Dr. Bramley.
I'm really into preventative health and preventative medicine and how we can feel better, younger, healthier. So that's what I spend my time doing. I met Morgan almost a year ago. Met him at a dinner. We started talking about this motorcycle trek he was going to go on for charity. And I listened to the whole thing and thought, wow, that's ambitious. That takes a lot. He's doing it for charity. What a great venture. You know, it's going to be great, but the guy needs some serious fitness. Took one look at him. He looks like most people who live in Hong Kong. Totally depleted of vitamin D. I thought, I got to fix this guy's vitamin D up. How's he possibly going to get fit enough to get on the road and ride his motorcycle across for 4 months?
Like many things, Wheel2Wheel has provided an excuse or a reason to get motivated to do all these things that we want to do, like get fit.
So I approached him and I just said, look, let me be your doctor. Let me help you out. Let me get you ready. You also need some vaccines, make sure you don't get sick, and whatever else we can do to help you with your fitness.
On this expedition, there's every possibility that I could catch a nasty bug or my energy could simply run out, which is why Dr. Bramley is making sure I have every conceivable supplement. That includes vitamin D, which she believes is the secret weapon for me to make it.
Larry's a big risk. Gastroenteritis, poor guy, he's gonna get sick as a dog. But I hope I set him up with some good things to take, and he knows he can always call me and I'll help him out with that. But unfortunately, foodborne illness, it's out there. Main thing, the one that I really wanted to approach was vitamin D. It's one of my big passions. I'm really enthusiastic about it. It's made my job hugely easy as a doctor, because of course all we deal with is sickness, illness, disease, depression, etc. And along comes vitamin D. It's been around for hundreds of years. But now we know that if you take high-dose vitamin D and correct your levels, you can stave off so much illness, puts everybody in a great mood, it prevents cancer in a big way. Skin cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, really dramatic benefits. And also for fitness. It's excellent at helping you get more and more fit. I knew that Morgan needed his vitamin D levels checked. And I just thought, what a great way for him to be a spokesperson for what I really believe in. Because unfortunately, nobody is. Sure enough, start Morgan up on it. The guy felt great in 2 weeks. I saw him out on the town. I said, wow, Morgan, you look great. He goes, I feel great. What'd you give me, that vitamin D?
My health's in order and I've got a huge supply of vitamin D, so I'm ready to hit the road for a few months. As great as Hong Kong is, many residents never get the chance to escape the constant pollution that affects this city. When Wheel to Wheel returns, I'll find out what the Clean Air Network hopes to do about it. Hong Kong's air is frequently been likened to a toxic soup filled with pollutants from the air in the form of byproducts from China's factories, the sea, courtesy of filthy bunker fuel from ships, and finally land, with old trucks and buses being the main pollutants. Combined, this all leads to a real and daily health hazard.
The main polluters in Hong Kong are the power companies, the transport companies, especially franchise buses and commercial truck owners, and ships.
And as it turns out, like many things in life, the devil really is in the details.
You may not know, but 80 to 90% of all the roadside emissions come from commercial buses and trucks. So that's our main focus, that what we need to do is actually get the oldest trucks and buses, which are, believe it or not, 35 times more polluting than a new one, off the streets as quickly as possible.
Ships, though, are a different story altogether.
Ships use very, very dirty, extremely dense, filthy fuel called bunker fuel, which is several thousand times more polluting in terms of sulfur dioxide content than ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel or the type of petrol that would be used in a car. So ships actually at port area, like in Kwai Ching or Kwai Chung, result in air pollution at street levels of between 5 and 10 times what's experienced in places like Central.
立例咯，即係停車你一定要識字，啲貨車同埋啲私家車一定要識字。嗱呢啲貨車就冇得講，佢哋實識㗎，上過落過係嘛？但私家車貨車嗰啲 van 仔啊、廿嘅嗰啲咧，一定要佢識。
There's really a lot of things in Hong Kong the government can do. Low emission zone, subsidizing some of the heavy vehicle owners to change their vehicle, or actually telling these vehicle owners that because they are causing harm to society, if they don't change, there will be limitation of their operation. So these are things that the government has to do, because it's not new. It's being done all over the world.
But with Hong Kong's government dragging its feet due to business interests, it's really up to citizens and organisations like the Clean Air Network to raise awareness and create pressure to force change.
Sometimes if the citizen always say, okay, I want the government to do this, I want the government to do that, it's not enough. They really have come out more, write to the government, write to the newspaper more, and then the media should also be more proactive, because this actually helps Hong Kong's improvement.
In the next year, our goals are to engage more of the polluting companies, actually, such as truck owners and buses and ship owners, because it's very important to understand their concerns commercially if we are to devise and suggest feasible solutions. Then we would say we're going to continue our educational campaign, especially among the local school systems.
So it's one step at a time for the Clean Air Network. We can all get behind them to pressure the government to make more effective policies. Otherwise, the alternative is more people leaving this great city due to the filthy air. I know where I stand. I want clean air for my daughter to breathe, And that's one more reason we passionately support the Clean Air Network's efforts.
I'd like to thank everyone for being here tonight. Tell you a little bit about what Wheel to Wheel is. It's 10 countries, over 100 days, over 20,000 kilometers in support of 10 amazing charitable organizations. And that is why you're here.
This is an amazing endeavor he's going on.
Just the endurance of the whole thing. I mean, 3 months on a bike, that's tough.
If you get off that bike, you will not be able to get it back up again.
He's just a very smart, passionate guy about a lot of things.
I thought it was a great idea.
It's self-discovery, it's trying to do good. What an amazing thing for a dream to come true.
I'm quite excited for him, quite envious really.
How do you feel about this? Scared. Why are you scared? Because I don't want him to get hurt or anything.
He's doing great work.
I just want to know how he's going to party and ride the bike for that much mileage every day.
Of course it's a motorcycle adventure, of course it's an epic expedition. It's also about telling the stories of 10 amazing organisations doing incredible work on a range of different issues across the 10 countries through which we're travelling.
We've had a lot of volunteers, people have stepped forward and said, I want to be a part of this. You're all a part of it now being here. So thank you all for allowing me to take this expedition on.
It was an awesome night out, amazing bands, we received some charitable donations, and it was a final opportunity to say goodbye to some great friends. But now I've got to do some packing, and who wants to do that? The catch is, this time, it's the most important bit of packing I'll do in my life.
Okay, I'm taking Teddy.
Nice to see you again.
It's been a roller coaster of emotions this week, and since the Friday night rock concert event, it's all been, this is happening for real.
My journey from Hong Kong to Brisbane, which starts today, is all about charity. What I'm doing is I'm staging this event in order to capture people's attention and be able to raise awareness and money for 10 grassroots charitable organisations in the 10 countries that I'm passing through on my way to Australia. I've spent the last 2 years selecting these charitable organisations. I've selected them on the basis of what we at Wheel to Wheel think are the big issues facing each of these countries. And we've found great little organisations that are very small that with our help can grow larger and do a lot of good for the communities that they're in. Nice to meet you. I'm Morgan. Thank you so much for coming. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming down here today to say goodbye, for your support up to this point in time. But the journey's just beginning now, and we've got a job to do. I'll do my best, and I look forward to getting to Brisbane and then seeing you all back here in Hong Kong. So thank you.
Okay, goodbye.
I don't want you to leave, Daddy.
We've just discovered that despite the fact that I have a registration to ride the bike in Hong Kong and a registration to ride the bike in China, there is another permit required to travel the 500 odd metres between the two territories on a particular piece of road. And that road has a permit which is issued by the Hong Kong Transport Department, and I don't have that permit.
And could it be over before it's even begun?
Well, we're now on our way to the Hong Kong Transport Department who issues this permit. But, you know, I don't know whether it's something that they issue in an hour or a week.
Will Morgan be able to make it across China's border and get to visit Gecko in Yangshuo? Be sure to find out next week when Wheel to Wheel returns. For more information, please visit wheel2wheel.tv.